October 9, 2024. This is S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. The volume was really low and the volatility wasn't that great. The only economic data came out at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard, which is about right here. This is where the FOMC meeting minutes for the last month's meeting came out, where they reduced the interest rates by 0.5%, so 50 basis points. It didn't really move the market. It was just kind of to get an insight and see some color of what the various Fed presidents were thinking and try to get an indication of whether they think there's going to be more rate reductions in the next two rate decisions or not. So it didn't really do that much. Overall, the market was really slow today. I did manage to take 2 trades, but I didn't really see that many setups. And I actually had to stop trading a little early because I had to book it out of here. So this video is actually coming out rather late than I usually like to have it. So I'm going to go into, I think there's only like 3, maybe about 3 or 4 setups that I saw, and 2 of them I took the trade, but there weren't very many second entries or clean second entries. So in the pre-market, it first looked like it was range bound. It sold off, bounced. I thought the range was actually going to be here, but it actually ended up being higher. Keep in mind this yellow up channel doesn't exist yet. There's a new high here, and on the open, it creates a break of this orange down channel, makes one attempt down, second attempt down. So you can see it as first entry short, second entry short, pushes all the way down, actually succeeds in the second entry short to test and make a new low. I thought there was some kind of support here, and then it reverses. This is what I considered a possible trade because I like that it moved 1 tick below the previous, and it pushed all the way up and closed very bullish, closed at the high. The problem with this setup is, for me, is it's a 4-point bar. So that's already, excuse me, 16 ticks, which is quite larger than my usual preference for a stop loss. And it's rather early in the day, so I wasn't too sure on it. I did see like potential 1 touch, 2 touch, and I did have this at one time slightly higher. So it looked like there was some kind of support region here. So this is a possible trade if you're a little bit more aggressive. I left it alone and was looking for a higher low that never showed up. Then I actually drew the highs of the pre-market right here, and I thought it might have been in a trading range. This could be a failed breakout. It's a push up, break of the green down channel, and then it comes back down on this orange channel. EMA is starting to show strength, and this is actually where I set up to take my first trade. It was a new high here. It's a first entry long pullback, creates a second entry long. So in real time, you see this doji. I don't really like this doji signal bar, but now I do have a confirmed second entry long. I also have a new low here. It's a first entry short, pullback, second entry short. Second entry short has failed. At the same time, the second entry long has set up a bounce above the EMA. So it's confirmed here. I want to get my order ready, but I wanted to see what the next candle was going to do. So it actually opened, it flushed down, it was doing a whole bunch of stuff, and toward the end of the life of this candle, it had already broke above this doji signal bar, so I like that. And so when it pushed up, I entered my trade here. I wasn't sure I was going to get filled. It came back, picked me up, and then closed at the high. I did think that maybe I was at the high of this range, but this range looks a little not fully developed. The bottom support is there, but the resistance isn't quite firm. So I was thinking it's either going to have a high here that might see some kind of reaction or rejection, or a high up here. If I entered, I was able to quickly get a 1-point scalp, move my runner to 1 tick above break even, and it got stopped out right here. So you can actually see 2 small little purple triangles right there and there. So it was a quick little trade. That's also all I was really looking for. Came down. If I had stayed with 2 points, I wouldn't have gotten out, and I had to sit through this noise, and then this candle probably would have gotten me out. But I was just going for my usual 1-point scalp for a quick trade, and it worked out pretty well. The prices continue moving up. I thought it was kind of inside this magenta up channel. It's kind of bouncing around, nothing too clean. I did see a new high here. It's a first entry long, pullback. Here it creates a second entry long. So this second entry long, it's a little late in the day, but I could have sworn this setup looked a little bit different than it does now. In hindsight, now it looks like it's not that clean. But I did see that it was bounce off this potential magenta up channel and a bounce off the EMA. But I believe earlier, because I had to log off and reload NinjaTrader, I think this is a slightly better signal bar, but it doesn't look that good now. So I'm not sure if I would have taken the trade if I saw this in real time, but in real time, I could have sworn this is a better signal bar. I also saw this as a new low. It's a first entry short, pull back, second entry short. Second entry short has also failed, coupled with the second entry long bounce off the EMA, potential already bounce off this magenta up channel to test the highs. So it kind of rolled all together to create a rather decent setup, I thought. So I entered one tick above this original signal bar. I had to sit through this one and it flushed up and quickly got my profit target. I didn't go for a runner because I noticed that price action was slowing down. So I just took the entire position off right here. Then it flushes up, comes back down, hits this consolidation area. This is just really, really choppy noise here. At this point, I do find this yellow up channel. I was playing with various trend lines coming up. This one seemed to kind of fit ultimately, but there was no clean setup that I could find. Prices just move up. It looks like there is a second entry long here, but it's so far from the EMA. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. After this big push up, there could be a correction. This could have been a lower high, and it could have flushed down. So this isn't a clean or safe second entry long. Hits this consolidation, continues back up. You have the same situation here, but this is not quite one tick below, so it's only really a first entry long. Pushes up, and you really only get first entry longs or first entry shorts through this whole thing. But when you look back to the left, you see that it's such a bullish uptrend. You're not thinking short, you're just thinking long, but you need a good justification to take the long. And I couldn't find one. So it kind of kept pushing up. It started reversing. It broke out of this green up channel and came back, broke through the EMA. If you notice here, you actually don't get a first entry long till here. So it pushes down, you have a first entry long, and that's all you get. And it kind of continues back down. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but this isn't a very decisive or clean setup. I did have this as a down channel one time, a potential break and test of the new low, but this isn't really clean. There was no other key entry points to play with. So it was a sit on hand situation. It came up, there was a new low here. It's a first entry short. This created what I thought was a hunch trade. Had an EMA rejection, and it was a trend line rejection of this current trend line, but it was too doji, so I left it alone. But seeing this in real time, I was thinking maybe there's a short here, but I couldn't get past the idea that there could be a support off this bigger yellow up channel. So I just had to leave it alone. The prices just kind of get choppy, pushes up. I didn't have this larger pink down channel established yet, so I couldn't treat this as a key entry point. Even then, it's only a second confirmation, pushes down, then the price tests a new low, then it reverses back up. You could say there's a new low, first entry short, but I consider this kind of like a localized low, so I would start the count here. First entry short, second entry short. But it's just too noisy, too congested. It's like side by side. It was just kind of in a trading range. And even the trading range itself was only about 2 to 3 points. So there's not much to go with if you're already trying to scalp 1 point and the candles themselves are 2 points. It doesn't really, you're just going to get chopped up in this noise. Prices then move, it flushes down. There's this huge push up. Now, this is right around where the FOMC meeting minutes are coming out, so I tend to not want to trade on this because the Forex Factory was indicating this could be a potentially high impact news, so you could get chopped up with really large moves or swings that would quickly hit your stop before, fill your order, hit your stop, and then go in the direction you're thinking. So it's just something like that. I just kind of sit on my hands. You do hit a new high. It's a first entry long pullback. The second entry long here, not a clean signal bar, nothing really here to take. Pushes up. This is a localized new low. You have first entry short. You technically have a second entry short here. This is your signal bar, but it's an inside bar, so it's nothing I really trust. Continues along. You also have a new high. It's a first entry long pullback. You have a second entry long. It's the same problem as a second entry short. This is an inside bar, so I can't really trust it. It pushes and then it consolidates in this trading range and it pushes up. So you don't get a first entry short till here, far from the EMA, and finally get a second entry short. Second entry short, signal bar is decent. You're pretty far from the EMA. Maybe there's a trade there, but this is already pressing toward the end of the day. Based upon my trade earlier, I was just grateful for the 2 green trades that I wasn't going to try to risk trying to scalp out or squeeze out any more profit or any more points out of this. So it's just kind of a stay out zone, and it kind of pushes into the close. And Similar to the last few days, the close has been very uneventful, and even the trading day has pretty low volume. So the entire trading session, as well as the last few days, hasn't been all that all that exciting, and some of it has been kind of not obvious. So I wouldn't say it's tough, but it has been just times where it was ambiguous. So that's all kind of how I saw the charts today, and hopefully that was helpful.